So they need 315 to win from 300 balls. Hit straight to a fielder. That's the first runs of the day for Triscothic. Knight is off the mark. He's gone over the top with that, and it looks like 4 runs. That's the first boundary for Triscothic. Stopped by Lehman. Lee to begin a new spell. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. He's worked that into the gap. Oh, that's close. The umpire turned that one down, but it did look very close. All I can say is that it looked very, very close.
Yes, Richie, that must have been very, very close. A tough decision by the umpire, but he seemed certain.
Brilliantly caught.
That's the early wicket they were looking for. Now they need to keep the pressure on.
Knight goes for only 1. Hussain is now facing.
The fielding restrictions provide the opportunity for attacking batsmen to score some fast early runs.
McGrath to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. Stopped by Lee. That's too short, and it's been dispatched before. That was a brilliant hook shot.
It gave the batsman too much room there. 4 runs.
That's gone high in the air. That takes him into double figures. Our shot. Looks in good form out there.
That was a beautiful front foot shot. The timing was spot on.
12 runs came from that over by McGrath. Lee to begin a new over. Now the run rate stands at just over 6 and over. A long hop and punish. That's the first boundary for Hussain. Lee to bowl to Hussain. Stopped by Harvey. Lee to bowl to Hussain. That must be close. The umpire says not out. In my opinion, it wasn't out, but it was very close. McGrath to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Stopped by Hayden. McGrath to bowl to Trescothick. He's taken the aerial route there. 4 runs. Trescothick has moved into the 20s and is starting to look far more relaxed. That's too short. 4 runs. That was a superb placement.
Well, that was much too short from the bowler. 4 runs.
Oh, that's close. The umpire turned that one down, but it did look very close. The fielders were very confident about that one, but to no avail. That's the end of the 5th over. Hussain facing. Now the run rate stands at just over 6 and over. Hit straight at Martin. Brilliantly caught.
Well, he just picked the fielder out perfectly with that shot.
Hussain goes for 4. Vaughan awaits his first ball. Lee to Vaughan. That's the first runs of the day for Vaughan. Lee continues. The fielder will cut that off. Picked up on the boundary by Bevan. McGrath to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. There it goes. That was a mighty hit.
The bowler can't believe it, but it is out of the ground. 6 runs.
Vaughan waiting at the striker's end. Nice speeding to the boundary. That takes him into double figures. McGrath at the start of his run-up. Stopped by Vaughan. McGrath at the start of his run-up. Good bowling from McGrath. That's too full and it's been punished. McGrath is not impressed.
What a ripper! The crowd enjoyed that one.
43 overs are left in the innings. Here comes the first change in the bowling. Now the run rate stands at just over 6 and over. Hit straight at Lehman. Hit straight at Warren. Well, that's found the gap in the field. Lehman doing the fielding. 42 overs are left for England. McGrath to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. McGrath to bowl to Vaughan. McGrath continues. Stopped by Warren.
White.
Harvey to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. Stopped by Lee. Two for 49. He's got onto that one. Super shot by Kriskothic.
Perfectly played. He got right over that ball and played it with a nice straight bat.
Stopped by Lehman. That's the end of the 10th over. We're about to see a change in the bowling. The required run rate has crept up to around 6.5 and over. It's straight at Warren. Lee continues. That's cleared the rope. 6 runs.
It doesn't really matter if it goes in the air if you hit it that far.
39 overs are left for England. Harvey to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. It might just go all the way to the rope. really was a super score.
He should be looking to bowl a tighter line at this stage.
So they need the 5-2 to win from 2-3-2 balls. Harvey is back in the attack. Hit straight to a fielder. There it goes. He hit that with awesome power.
Perfectly played. He got right over that ball and played it with a nice straight bat.
The score is now 2 for 67. That was a nasty bouncer from Harvey. That over cost 8 runs. Lee to begin a new over. The run rate stands at just under 6.5 and over. Lee to Bourne. Hit straight at Bourne. Oh, that's a really superb shot. Vaughan has now moved into the 20s. He's worked that into the gap. Fielded on the boundary by Martin. Two for 72. Lee continues. Hit straight to a fielder. Harvey to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6.5 and over. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. Lee reaches it before it crosses the boundary. Hit straight at Lee. That bouncer gave the batsman plenty to think about.
He doesn't look too comfortable against the short ball.
Vaughan is now facing. That's gone high in the air. That ball drifted wide and he paid the price.
Well, if you're going to pitch that short, you'll get punished.
Prestothic is now facing. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. That's a great shot. These two players have now put on 52. Lee continues. stopped by Harvey. That's the end of the 15th over. Harvey to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6.5 and over. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. Stopped by Bevan. There's a mix-up with the batsman. It was very tight, so the umpire's calling for the TV replay. A direct hit would have got him. Harvey to bowl to Trescothick. It's high in the air. It's high in the air. Picked up very early by Vaughan.
Cracking shot. The secret there was that he got his feet into position early and had plenty of time to play the shot.
Vaughan is now on strike.
White.
It's straight at Lehman. 34 overs are left in the innings. Trescothick waiting at the striker's end. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here.
White.
It's straight at Lehman. There should be some runs here.
Yes.
33 overs are left in the innings. There's a change in the bowling with the off-spin of Simons. The required run rate has crept up to around 6.5 and over. He's worked that into the gap. He's got hold of that one. 4 runs. He's getting a standing ovation from this excellent crowd. Trescothick, he scored 50 or 52 balls. The batsman will have to run these.
Yeah.
32 overs are left in the innings. Lee to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6.5 and over. That's too short. 4 runs. That was sweetly timed.
The captain might be forced to make a change in the bowling if the bowler keeps bowling like that.
That moves the score into 3 figures for England. Lee to Krzysztof. Oh, that's close. The umpire's not moving on that one. In my opinion, it wasn't out, but it was very close. Lee is back in the attack.
Waiting!
Hit straight to a fielder.
Waiting!
Simons to continue with his off-spin. The required run rate has crept up to around 6.5 and over. Steered expertly into the gap. Simons at the start of his run-up.
Waiting!
He's worked that into the gap. Simons continues.
Waiting!
Stopped by Lehman. That has to be close. The umpire raised his finger and he's out. Vaughan eventually goes for 39.
I don't think he agrees with the umpire's decision.
The next man in is Stewart. That's the end of the 20th over. Lee to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 7 and over. He's got it into the gap. There's a mix-up with the batsman. He looked as if he was home to me. He's taken the aerial route there. 4 runs. That's the first boundary for Stewart. The total is now 3 for 107. Stewart is now facing. Turn down to fine leg. Fielded down at fine leg by Harvey. 29 overs are left in the innings. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. He didn't quite get hold of that one properly. They have 29 overs to get to 06. Krzysztof is now on strike. Three now for 109. Simons at the start of his run-up. The batsman will have to run these. Confident appeal. The umpire's not moving on that one. The umpire didn't have to think too hard about that one. A very good over. Only 2 offered in the end. Lee to bowl the last of his allotted overs. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. That's gone high in the air. Really looks in fine nick today.
He gave the batsman too much room there. 4 runs.
Waiting!
It's in the air. It was sweetly timed.
Well, he won't have pleased his skipper with that delivery. He needs to keep it tight.
No!
Trescothick is now on strike. Gosh, that must have hurt. The batsman will have to run these. The batsmen are coming back for a second. There's a mix-up with the batsman. 9 runs were picked up from that over by Lee. Simons to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 7 and over. There it goes. Simons to bowl to Stewart.
Yes!
195 runs required. Stewart waiting at the striker's end. It's high in the air. That takes him into double figures. That's a big appeal. The umpire says not out. Well, I felt that that wasn't out. Hit straight to a fielder. 26 overs are left for England. We're about to have a change of bowling with the leg spin of Warne. The required run rate has crept up to around 7 and over. That's a superb shot. You certainly saw that one early.
He loves the ball in that area. Great shot. 4 runs.
So they need 187 to win from 154 balls. The total is now 3 for 128.
Waiting!
He's got it into the gap. And 86 runs required. Hit straight to a fielder. That's straight up in the air. That was 4 the moment it left his bat.
He loves the ball in that area. Great shot. 4 runs.
That's the halfway mark. 25 overs. The required run rate is around 7 and over. England have taken their total on to 3 for 133. That's 2 full, and it's been punished. That really was excellent timing.
For all the kids watching out there, that is a perfect example of how to play the shot.
The score is now 3 for 137. Simons continues. What a superb catch that is.
The batsman will be kicking himself over that. It wasn't a great shot, and he looked to be in good form.
Trescothick eventually goes for 79. That was a fine innings from Trescothick.
He did well out there and didn't let the bowlers get the upper hand at any stage.
Flintoff is the new batsman for England. Flintoff takes his place at the crease. It's in the air. That's the first boundary for Flintoff. Simons at the start of his run-up. .174 runs required. Four for 142. Simons is back in the attack. That's racing away for 4. Played that with superb timing.
That's a positive start and shows he's pretty confident out there.
13 runs came from that over by Simons. Warne to begin a new over. The run rate stands at just under 7 and over. They have 24 overs to get. 169. So they need 169 to win from 142 balls. Stewart is now on strike. Well, that'll beat the fielder. He picked the length quickly with that one.
That came right out of the meat. Excellent shot.
4, now 4 and 50. There should be some runs here. Flintoff waiting at the striker's end. It's high in the air. Warne won't like that at all.
Well, he really hit that a long way. Exciting stuff.
Warne is beginning to lose his line and length. Warne at the start of his run-up.
Wait.
11 runs came from that over for England. The required run rate is around 6.5 and over. Up and over and 4 runs. Stewart has moved into the 20s and is starting to look far more relaxed. 4 for 161. Brilliantly caught.
Well done, the fieldsman. He really backed up the bowler's effort.
Stewart has gone for 23. 153 runs required. Those are the first runs for White. England are 5 for 163. Simons continues. He's worked that into the gap. The batsmen are after 2. Fielded in the deep by Hayden. 22 overs are left in the innings. Now the run rate stands at just over 6.5 and over. The total is now 5 for 165. It's in the air, safely taken by Warren. White goes for only 1.
Well held by the fielder there. That took a long time to come down. Well, it seems like miles back to the pavilion when you've got out cheaply.
The next batsman in is the right-handed Giles. Warren gets his first wicket. England are 6 down now for 165. I think he was easily back in the crease there. That's gone high in the air. That's the first boundary for Giles. There it goes. That was a very confident shot.
The bowler put that right in his favourite area.
21 overs are left in the innings. Now the run rate stands at just over 6.5 and over. Simons at the start of his run-up. That's straight up in the air. Flintoff has now moved into the 20s. 138 runs required. Flintoff is now facing. It's in the air. .137 runs required. That's gone high in the air. That takes him into double figures. England have taken their total on to 6 for 182. Simons to Giles. There it goes. Giles really takes advantage of anything over pitch.
Well, with that timing early in his innings, he'll just gain so much confidence.
So they need 129 to win from 121 balls. Giles is now on strike. That's gone high in the air. Giles has moved into the 20s and is starting to look far more relaxed. That's the end of the 30th over. Warren to begin a new over. Now the run rate stands at just over 6 and over. Warren at the start of his run-up. He's worked that into the gap. There's a mix-up with the batsman. I think he was easily back in the crease there. The batsman will have to run these. .123 runs required. Flintoff is now on strike. That'll just make it to the boundary. Really looks in fine nick today.
Lovely shot. It raced away to the fence for 4.
England are 6 for 196. Warren at the start of his run-up. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. The batsmen are after 2. I think he was easily back in the crease there. So they need 117 to win from 112 balls. The score is now 6 for 198. .117 runs required. It's high in the air. Picked up very early by Giles.
He plays that shot really well and it brings him lots of runs.
The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. That's through the gap and it'll go for 4. That was a shot straight out of the coaching manual.
Oh, great shot. That was 4 from the moment it left the bat.
Pushed into the gap. Pushed into the gap. That's a great shot. Flintoff won't miss anything bowled too full.
Everything was in the right place there. It fairly raced away to the boundary.
Hit straight to a fielder. There's a mix-up with the batsman. Oh, that's gone a long way. Partnership for the 7th wicket is now 53, 17. Overs are left for England. The required run rate is around 5.5 and over. Simons continues. That's a big appeal. Well, the umpire shakes his head. It's a tough job being an umpire. Oh, that's gone a long way.
The fielder just watched it. Going, going, going.
Warren to begin a new over. Now the run rate stands at just over 5.5 and over. Stopped by Ponting. It's a mix-up with the batsman. He looked as if he was home to me. Beautiful shot. That was 4 the moment it left his bat.
That was a wonderful shot. He looks in great shape out there.
Warren at the start of his run-up. Flintoff is now on strike. That's beaten the fielder, but it won't go all the way. Giles is now on strike. It's straight at Bevan. Warren at the start of his run-up. He's worked that into the gap. That's the end of the 35th over. We're about to see a change in the bowling. The required run rate is around 5.5 and over. It's high in the air. And there's a fielder under it.
That was moving pretty quickly and he did well to cling onto it.
Giles goes for 35. In the air and gone.
Wonderful catch. He did fantastically just to get near it, let alone hang on to it.
Haddock makes his way back to the dressing room. Goff takes guard. Goff facing. Overs are left for England. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. Great job done by the fielder in the deep. Warren to Flintoff. There it goes. Out. He's been caught.
Well done, the fieldsman. He really backed up the bowler's effort.
So then, that's the end of golf. He smashed that away. That's the first boundary for Hogarth. 13 overs are left for England. The new batsman won't have to face just yet. Now the run rate stands at just over 5.5 and over. That's straight up in the air. He looks very happy out there. His 50 has come up off 36 balls. Gone way into the stands. 6 runs. That was 6 all the way.
The bowler doesn't look too happy about it. There might be a little bit more in the next one.
Harvey continues. The fielder will cut that off. Hogarth facing.
Yes.
12 overs are left for England. Now the run rate stands at just over 5.5 and over. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. Warren to Hogarth.
Yes.
The new batsman won't have to face just yet. The required run rate has crept up to around 5.5 and over. That's cleared the boundary. 6 runs. That easily cleared the boundary.
The bowler won't like that one little bit.
60 runs required. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. 60 runs required. Harvey to Flintoff. It's straight at Martin. Hoggard facing. The required run rate is around 5.5 and over. That should just go for 4 runs. Really struck that well.
Oh, great shot. That was a pleasure to see.
Warren to bowl to Hoggard. Played into the gap. Great shot by Flintoff. Well, he's seeing it like a beach ball out there now.
Well, he smashed that for 4 with a big smile on his face.
The fielder will cut that off. Hoggard facing. Nine overs are left in the innings. Harvey to begin a new over. The required run rate is around 5 and over. That was a vicious delivery.
He's bowling quickly today and has really got his tail up.
It's high in the air. That easily cleared the boundary.
The fielder just watched it. Going, going, going.
It's straight at Simons. That could be a very painful blow.
Well, he might be a little nervous coming forward to the next delivery.
It's in the air. The crowd were brought to their feet by that shot.
The batsman wasn't going to miss that opportunity. He was on it in a flash.
It's in the air. That was a really confident shot.
He really laid into that delivery. 4 runs all the way.
8 overs are left in the innings. These are the bowling figures. Harvey now has figures of 9 overs, 1 maidens, 2 for 58. The required run rate is around 4 and over. Warren to Hoggard. Warren to bowl to Hoggard. Played into the gap. Seven overs are left in the innings. Harvey to Flintoff. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. That's gone high in the air. He picked that up beautifully.
Another one of those, and this bowler could be out of the attack.
Stopped by Martin. The fielder will cut that off. That takes him into the 90s. The batsmen are after 2. Great job done by the fielder in the deep. 8 runs came from that over by Harvey. We're going to see the off spin of Simons. Now the run rate stands at just over 4 and over. He's worked that into the gap. That takes him into double figures. Simons to bowl to Hoggard. That's the end of the 45th over. We're about to see a change in the bowling. The required run rate has crept up to around 4.5 and over. There it goes. That was a wonderfully timed straight drive.
Oh, great shot. That was a pleasure to see.
Stopped by Simons. McGrath at the start of his run-up. Australia are making a change in the bowling. The required run rate has crept up to around 5 and over. The new batsman won't have to face just yet. Now the run rate stands at just over 4.5 and over. McGrath continues. Hit straight to a fielder. McGrath continues. Martin to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. That's straight up in the air. Hasn't been easy by any means, but he can enjoy this moment. There's his century.
He's played really well out there and deserves a century.
Martin at the start of his run-up. The required run rate has crept up to around 9 and over. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. Picked up by Warren. McGrath to Flintoff. That's gone high in the air. McGrath to bowl to Flintoff. That's cleared the infield. The crowd really enjoyed that shot.
Well, he got everything right there. Footwork, hands, kept his head down, kept the ball on the ground. Nothing better than that.
That's straight up in the air. The crowd were brought to their feet by that shot.
For all the kids watching out there, that is a perfect example of how to play the shot.
McGrath at the start of his run-up. There it goes, and safe. He's struggling to get back here.
You can't afford to hesitate if it's a tight run. That slight indecision proved expensive.
So to sum up then, Australia win by losing fewer wickets.